Okay, streetscape project.
I would call your attention to is it's page 15 in the packet. It's just the email that came from Gaverson Spitz, but it's from, the original email is from their sub IES, and just details what they propose to do as far as cleaning the connections and installing that gel-filled wire nuts. And get the light fixture fixed also. Check everything check the other fixtures for loose connections, so the work would take place next spring or sooner if temperatures moderate.
I don't think they could check them fixtures now, couldn't you? Zoom up there and tighten up, when everyone happens. Just a question. They don't use another fixture.
I'm sure they could.
So what they're gonna do with the install gel-filled wire nuts, that's gonna help keep the moisture out, and that's what we're talking about?
As far as I know, the gel-filled wire nut spill.
Well, Mr. Sparky, what do you think?
It's one step above what they did.
Is it the right step?
Is it a step below what they should be doing?
Well, it's hard to argue with them because they're gel filled to keep the water out of them. We use their little blocks.
Why they didn't use it the first time? Nobody knows why they
What-
just...
Let me ask this, if you were doing a project, would you do that?
With the
What they're proposing, is that a doable solution? And it's taking you that long to think about, it tells me it's
I've
not.
never used them before, so that's I can answer that.
Or is this gonna fix it for 4 years, and then we're gonna have to go back in and spend 10,000 to fix it back? Is that possible?
That's a bad feeling, yeah.
Yeah. I just know how things work. And this is what our engineer thinks is a good thing?
Yeah, and they're okay with that.
I'll bet they are.
I've got no clue, so I'll just defer to someone else. That's just mine. Have an opinion.
What's our engineer's name?
This is the correspondence through him, everything came through Dave.
So what's he say?
He's okay with this. This is what they would propose to do. The situation's strange because we don't have a spec on it. You know, this was an add-on onto the project. We didn't have a spec on it. Didn't tell them exactly what to do.
Well, I hate to say this, but sooner or later we gotta pay these guys. And I think we probably need to get it out of the way because that puts another $7,000 back in the electric budget that we don't have right now.
If we don't have anything to fall back on, that says this is what our requirements are, then what ground is really everything on? If they
On the bond, if it still is, continues to have corrosion or anything like that, yeah, we certainly would expect it to be taken care of.
We probably won't come to maintenance by the time spring, it'll probably be one day after it goes out.
We'll have to check that, but we did get the answer on the maintenance bond issue too, that it would start from when the council has accepted the project, so that would be, potentially tonight, in 2 years from tonight.
Maybe you just have a follow-up from our engineer saying this is what he's okay with this recommendation.
Do you have an email or something?
I got the same email from Dave, and all that it says is this is what they propose to do.
Well, we either have to have a motion or we're just gonna let it die.
Well, I'll make a motion, I'll move that we approve the final pay estimate.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, huh?
Yes.
There?
No.
Abstention? Motion fails, yeah. Yeah. It's just that we do end up having to pay them sometime.
When I feel like I'm satisfied that,
That's part, but that's part of what needs to occur under this maintenance bond period too. That's why we do this, is to have some time afterwards.
we know there's a problem right now. Here's my whole situation. There's a problem right now. And to me, they're not answering the problem right. I know a little bit about electricity, I know a lot about it, but they should, we're just gonna have that, if it's gonna wait till this point in time, another month, then we're serious. That's what I'm for.
So what is it that they can do to, what is it that they can do to, address your concerns?
Ask the man from electricity, Bill? I mean,
The problem I've got is, the city paid an inspector to be there the whole time. Why didn't he say something when they did it? You know, using those just regular wire nuts.
and see, that's my problem with that. He's not comfortable with it. He knows 100 times more than what we do. Or I don't. I should talk to the town council. He's not comfortable with it. Why should we be comfortable with it? We should get some recommendations from our electrical superintendent and go,
Bill,
this is
even-
what we want.
Even though there wasn't a spec on it, that they should have, the inspector should have known that he used more than just what they did, right?
I assume that's what his job was.
Okay.
And then
Regardless, I mean, it should have been.
the light falling off, I didn't care for that either, and the way the light was bouncing back and forth. They said it was designed for a banner on there.
Well, we've had issues with getting them back here to finish it the first time. It's like, you have to pull teeth to get them to do anything. Maybe they can come up and check. I think they'd make an effort if they came up and checked the rest of those slits that didn't fall off. I'd be happy with that.
Why don't
Cut it
you
off.
have the engineer contact Bill?
I think that makes sense. I don't think that happens a lot.
I'm just, like I said, I put a lot of confidence in you, Bill, that
I know they make those wire nuts with, it's just a jelly inside of it's all it is, to keep the water out of it. And that's what they're for, but like I said, I've never used them before.
what would you have done?
So the ones I've seen, they're a little block that are made watertight. That's what we use in our underground.
Well, maybe we should suggest they put those on.
But see, I guess, the other ones are watertight, the code specifies it, so that's why I say well, you can't say they can't do it. And like Scott said, if you don't have a spec when you bid it out, when you bid a job, if you don't spec a number and say this and no equal, then they find ways to.
But either way, an inspector should have said, don't use just wire nuts underground.
Yeah, he didn't know. Evidently.
Makes me nervous what else is out there that we haven't discovered yet.
Well, let's talk to Dave again and see if we can't get a different resolution to the problem.
And, over the course of the last couple of years, we've gotten, burned might be a strong word, but, we've had adverse implications from change orders that were not properly documented. And I don't know if I'm using the right terminology to describe that, but work like that was added on, that wasn't spec, change orders that weren't documented. I mean, that thing kind of just becomes, it's just a little too common with our larger projects. And so I'm just kind of hoping maybe we can
Cross your T's and dot your
and
I's?
just ensure, even, on little things, this presumably may have seemed like a little thing at the time, ends up not being such a little thing, so I just hope maybe in the future we can be a little more, and our expectations of the engineers or whoever does those specifications, that, we're not gonna take shortcuts anymore, because, this is just, to me, we're just like wasting time on this, you know? I mean, not that it's not important, I'm not saying that it's not, and I don't disagree with you, but it's like, oh my goodness, my gracious, I can't believe we're talking about this still, you know? So I just hope for future reference, future projects that, you know, let's just try to not let this common problem medicine come out again.
So do you feel we should pass it just to?
No, I'm just saying that the problems with the change orders not being documented or the spec,
I see.
I'm saying that over the last 3 years that I've been involved with the council, that has come up almost every time on these larger projects. So I'm just saying in the future, let's just try to ensure that we don't, you know, try to add in a change order or a small, you know, addition to the project and not document it properly, because those are always the things that come back to get us. This has come up consistently over the last 3 years, that there's been a change order that's not been documented, and then we're kind of left in this gray area. And I'm not saying at all, I'm not disagreeing with you guys about not approving it, I'm just saying, on a related note, we need to do a better job and have more diligence with our change orders and our specifications on these additions to projects after that.
I'm thinking that's what we paid an engineer.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and we've got to require that they do it. There's no, you know, even if they think, oh, it's a small addition, we'll just throw it in. The contractor says, great, you know, we think it's a good idea, whatever. That's unacceptable. We've got to get documentation because we're just...
I agree with Tony 100%. If you don't have it spec'd out, how can I say
Right.
you not to do it? Because that's what the wire nut's made that way to be in wet locations. So, I mean, I don't think we got a leg to stand on with that issue. But with the lights falling off, if it was me, I would have had a truck up there the next day checking all of them.
That's what I can't figure out, why I'm not doing that.
If that was my company, that's what I would do. But I don't think we got a leg to stand on with those wire nuts. If that's what they said they're going to do, and it's an approved method, it's too bad that Snyder didn't spec out a spec when they did that change order. Because then you could say, well, this is what we spec, and they didn't do it.
But we would have assumed that the engineer would have done that.
Exactly, yeah.
That's why he got paid all that money to do it.
Well, you may ask him why.
Well, just that everything occurred pretty much on site. That, you know, we determined we wanted to have these outlets. There was a different type of junction box that the contractor had proposed to put in, and this is in a different portion of the electrical, and he could, you know, save himself a few bucks on this junction box, and proposed that he'd be able to do this in exchange. He'd put in all of these outlets, and it was about $400 swap either way. It's just roughly a wash. So that's how the whole situation needed to be.
I don't want to compound the problem. If y'all wire enough, you're just going to get us by for 2 or 3 years, and we're just going to pass it on to the next council.
Well, we'll deal with this in the maintenance fund, but
Well, who authorized it then? It was just on sign authorization?
We decided, you know, certainly that everybody was on board having outlets in the know. And this, like I said,
Just to count people at Christmas, it's all Christmas.
I think my biggest worry would be, you know, another head falling off and hitting somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
The wire problems, you know, that's, you know, minor compared to somebody getting, or that could have landed on a car too, you know.
It landed on somebody.
Yeah.
That's why I can't figure out why they can't come up and check them right away. Even if it's cold weather, they can do that. Stern can figure that out and get them up and do that.
Well, knowing that we're not paying it, that might.
That might help.
you know, initiate it.
Yeah.